For more on the Trump historic inauguration, let's welcome in presidential historian and author of The Greatest Speeches of Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States of America, Craig Shirley, along with President of the National Federation of Women, Julie Harris. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So let's start with you, Craig. Trump is the first president since Grover Cleveland to have won non-consecutive terms. We have the inauguration happening indoors now, just like Ronald Reagan in 1985. What do you think about the Trump making history just like Reagan did in so many ways?
It's interesting that Jimmy Carter was a good man but a weak president. And the country was in crisis, and the country needed strong, decisive leadership, and that's why they turned to Ronald Reagan. Joe Biden is also a weak and indecisive president, also corrupt. And after his 4 years, after 4 years of just total disaster, the country needed strong, decisive leadership, so it turned to Donald Trump. Joe Biden will go down in history as our worst president. Our most incompetent, and our most buffoonish, and our most corrupt. That much is certain. You know, I doubt his presidential library is ever going to be built. Nobody's writing. I'm certainly not going to write a book about the Biden presidency. I don't know anybody who is. So I think it's going to go down in history as just 4 bleak years that we're just coming out of now. With the sunshine of the election and the inauguration of Donald Trump.
Julie, what's your opinion on the fact that it's going to be held indoors now?
Well, we're disappointed, but we're not letting it stop us from still being excited and still having fun. We're still, there are a lot of activities that are still going on, and the Republican women are very excited. We've had our own events, but just being out and around the public, there's still a lot of excitement. And talking to our members and my own family who flew in from out of state, have talked about the whole plane being full of Trump supporters. So, yeah, while we're disappointed that we won't be on the Capitol grounds, we're not discouraged. There is so much excitement and anticipation about Donald Trump's first day in office.
Craig, although it's going to be indoors, he's still having a rally today in D.C. What do you think he'll talk about there? How do you think that's all going to go ahead?
Well, I hope he talks about the future, and I hope he talks about young Americans. Those are always vital subjects to talk about, especially for a president. Not to date myself, but I worked on the 1985 inaugural, and I remember how cold it was. The instruments froze to band players' lips. The whole parade was canceled. And the second inauguration of Reagan was moved inside the rotunda, and it was a hasty called event, but it came off very well. But there were certain glitches that happened that day and that night. I was in charge of the 50 state governors, and they were supposed to be in the parade, and we had they weren't in the parade was canceled, so I called the Navy. I was working with the Navy Yard over and I called them to set up several bars in the Hall of States, and I sent all the governors over there. They spent the afternoon basically getting drunk, but also I went to one of the balls that night. There were 9 balls that night, and one of the I could see it was a melee with the coat check. There was a disaster, so I took my mother's and my wife's and my coats, and I put them in the staff office. And indeed, it was a melee. Fur coats were stolen. Fistfights broke out. It wasn't actually, settled until something like 3 o'clock in the morning. It was a total mess.
Wow.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, that does sound. I hope we don't have anything like that this time.
Absolutely. So, Julie, Trump has made it very clear he will roll back a ton of Biden administration policies, as well as enact his own executive orders on day one throughout the first week. What are you expecting for, and what are you most excited for?
Well, I'm excited for what he's told us he will do, and he has said that from day one he will prioritize our border, domestic energy, the economy. These are the things that America voted for. Executive orders are a legitimate way to implement policies that may face roadblocks or gridlocks in Congress, and we're happy to have the trifecta, but it's a razor-thin margin. And so America, they gave a mandate. They didn't just give Republicans power. They gave us marching orders, and they expect us to secure the border, bring down inflation, and I believe that the majority of Americans want to see domestic energy. These are the things that I'm most excited about. And Donald Trump has a history of keeping his word. And, talking about his rallies, those rallies are always epic. And I would like to see him talk about what he has already signed when he comes to his victory rally, or actually, I guess that would be the victory rallies before. So maybe speak to us at the victory rally about what he plans to sign. These are the things that America's watching for. This is why even though it's been moved indoors, we're still excited, because we know that America First policy is coming.
Good to hear from you. Love the enthusiasm there. Julie Harris, Craig Shirley, thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, John.
All right, take care.